Yo, what's up, guys? Let's talk about the new sci-fi horror film Life that recently came out. Stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, and Rebecca Ferguson. Is it any good? I'll get to that in a minute. So, the premise of the movie is that they discover life on Mars. So, they send it back to the International Space Station to have a group of scientists that are going to study it and send back the results to Earth. And it goes according to plan. Everything works out well. They make some groundbreaking discoveries and they live out their days as heroes. No, shockingly, that's not what happens. You'll be stunned to find out that the life they found on Mars is hostile and it tries to kill everybody. Who would have ever guessed that this is the path the film would take? But that's the path the film takes. So, overall, the film is pretty run of the mill. It doesn't break any new ground in the genre. If you're a fan of sci-fi horror films and you've seen Alien or Aliens and Event Horizon and Pandorum, you've pretty much seen everything you're gonna see at this point. Life doesn't break any new grounds. It has some performances that are all right. Like, all the cast does an admirable job. They don't break any new grounds in that regards either. You're probably not going to care about anyone who dies in this movie when they die. Jake Gyllenhaal, I guess, is ostensibly the leading man, and he's the least interesting character on the crew. He's kind of really one note. Yeah. Ryan Reynolds, spoiler, he dies pretty quickly. I guess that is what it is. So the biggest problem to me is that the film doesn't use its setting effectively. The film is set on the International Space Station, so you would think that would set up an interesting dynamic for, paranoid, claustrophobic, corridor crawl, tons of suspense and tension. But the film really doesn't go that route because they don't trust the audience enough to build that suspension and tension about wondering where the creature is. Every time one of the character posits, where is the creature, the film instantly shows you where the creature is. So it never builds any of that drama, any of that tension, which is a shame. It's a similar problem the Thing prequel had that diverged a lot from the original. It never let it ruminate the thought of where the alien is, because the presence of the alien, the looming threat of the alien, wondering where it is, can be just as effective as the aliens being physically on screen if you build it up properly. This film doesn't do that, which I think is a big disservice. I would have preferred it if they played with tension a little bit more. Another problem, it's hard. The alien looks all right just from graphical fidelity, but there's a problem with the character design. It's a squid-like creature, and unlike, say, the xenomorph in Aliens, when it kills somebody, it's really physical and visceral, and it tears them apart, or it impales them with its tail, or its projectile mouth busts through its skull, and then it goes about its day, kills the next group of people. The alien in Life, it kind of latches onto the creature, or to the human cast, and it seems to absorb nutrients and eat them, I guess, but it's really slow. So there's tons of scenes where the alien is latched onto somebody and we're just like, oh no, it's latched onto someone. It's not visually stimulating, which is a problem. Short of completely changing the design of the creature, I don't know what they could do. At the end of the movie, it has a face, but it's still kind of this tentacle, squid-like jellyfish monster. So it when it's attacking someone, it's not really a physical, visceral threat. The movie is pretty predictable. You're gonna see the ending coming a mile away. Not that necessarily makes it bad, but you're gonna pick up pretty quickly on what's gonna happen. I saw that the writer, I think, or maybe the director was teasing that it potentially sets up a sequel. I don't really have any interest in seeing that. The most interesting thing about this movie is the premise that it takes place on the International Space Station, which, spoiler, that gets destroyed in the course of this movie, so it can't happen in the sequel. And they didn't cash in on the premise of that. They didn't do a very good job of utilizing the setting and the location of the film. That's about all I have to say about Life. It's not a terrible movie. It's just not memorable. In a couple months when it's on Netflix, maybe check it out. I wouldn't recommend seeing it in the movie theater. Peace.